interpretation of the Constitution. It's a distortion of the Constitution. The Constitution says for public use. For goodness sakes, giving it to a corporation
is tax revenue public use?
Not a public use. That's the problem. That's the rub. And I think that's where we've gone astray. But I think absolutely not. Another famous case, they came to a church and said, oh, you don't pay any taxes. What if we put a department store in here? The department store will pay more taxes than the church. So we can take property away from churches or from a private property owner that's not going to pay as much as a big commercial building. It gets away from the whole idea. Private property is something sacred that we've had for hundreds and hundreds of years. The tradition of private property and the protection of private property is one thing that really made our country great.
Now, if you can't even challenge the EPA in court, if you're getting bullied by a federal bureaucracy and they've decided you can't challenge them in court, what if you're being bullied by government based on international law? Armed agents of the federal government went, and this is not conspiracy theory stuff. The armed agents of the federal government went into a guitar factory and terrorized these people over wood that was contraband in another country.
This Gibson guitar factory is just down the road. I live in Bowling Green, Kentucky. About an hour to the south is Nashville. Gibson guitar, they make guitars. They're famous for, decades making great guitars. The government comes in, Fish and Wildlife, armed with automatic weapons. They confiscate $1 million worth of computers and wood that they never gave back. But then they said, in the legal proceedings, they said to Gibson, if you would finish that wood, if you would process it to a finished point in India, they want the jobs to go to India instead of having the wood processed in the United States. They say it's about conservation, but this is an Indian labor law to try to get the wood processed before it comes to America. Has nothing to do with conservation, and it's not even an American law. We've incorporated all foreign regulations, so we have a bill to fix it. Our bill says, no, you can't incorporate foreign law unless it's passed by Congress. Why do we have a Congress if they're not going to pass the laws?
Well, thank you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. More with Senator Paul in a minute.